We are live, guys. How are you tonight? So, have you ever wanted to learn something so bad that when you sat down to use the bathroom, you pull out your phone and you instantly go to YouTube and start scouring for content to watch on this topic? You know what I'm talking about. I'm sure some of you guys do it, right? I'm talking to you, JJ Bama. But with YouTube being such a powerful search engine, what videos do you choose? You don't want to pick one that's too long. Your legs could go numb. I've been there before. You guys definitely don't want to do that. But this is where I was first introduced to tonight's guest, guys, before I ever created my first video. This goes back to April when my best friend Brad from the PSA 7 Comeback Card Investor just launched his channel. As a complete newbie, Brad introduced me to ComC and the black hole of sports cards that a lot of us call eBay. He recommended that I watch Sports Card Investor and the PSA Collector YouTube channels. That's when it started. I came across this channel called ZiggyNo Sports Cards. He was down to earth, extremely knowledgeable about all these platforms that Brad had introduced me to. And his transparent, informative style videos, I really gravitated towards. And I really enjoyed his content. They were similar to what I was seeing on YouTube from Brad and really the direction that I was trying to pursue the knowledge. And it was clear to me that this guy was extremely knowledgeable about everything that was going on in the sports card world. So fast forward to today, he is the longest running daily sports card show on YouTube. And to be honest, I'm not sure if the guy sleeps. But if you're not subscribed to ZiggyNo's Sports Card Daily, then you're really missing out on what is going on in our card world, guys. And especially on a daily basis. It's just a wealth of knowledge, and it's incredible. So, guys, please let's welcome to the Fantasy Football Card Quest studio, ZiggyNo Sports Card Daily. Boom.
Hey, man, thank you very much. You had me laughing there in the beginning because I can tell you I've definitely been guilty of checking my phone and at that time. So
we'll just leave it at that, right?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You get a buzz, you get an alert. Is a card for sale? What's going on? Yeah, we're all guilty of that. So
hey, man, that's productive time. You can multitasking.
Well, thank you very much for the intro. And just one thing that I do on my channel, two things that I want to do. I want to inform people, share information. I want it to be kind of like a newspaper to just hear what's going on. And I also really want to help promote others in the hobby, especially when I see a lot of content providers out there. I want to put a flashlight on, bring new content providers, attention. That's why I try to every day kind of give you an update of what's going on, what new YouTube content providers are out there, and what's what the pulse of the heart of the hobby is. So. Love it and love being on your show tonight, man. Really appreciate it. Love what you've been putting together. I love your show because I love your enthusiasm as a fantasy football guy coming in and trying, matching that over the cards. So I'm excited to have you, and I want to see you around for a long time, man.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad to be here. It's a lot of fun for me because I've had a lot of fun in fantasy football for a long time, and this goes hand in hand with what I enjoy doing. So there's no end in sight, man. And you've introduced me to so many new channels that I would have never found through even YouTube search or browse feature because I would have just never gotten to them.
Yeah.
But because of your platform and your daily show, I've learned about these other channels, and I've learned a lot because of it.
Yeah. Well, it's one thing. You're right. I know it's funny. So I'll tell you what started this for me, Andy, was, my kids were into YouTube. Probably early in last year, they were doing a lot of other YouTube channels. They started looking at sports cards. And if you are new to this, there are several, searches that always come up. You see the same people, like you mentioned, Sports Card Investor, PSA Collector, which are great. But if you only see the same things, you kind of get focused into one view. And I really wanted to expand that view. And there's a lot of phenomenal content providers out there. There's one of the best ones that I talk about all the time is Baseball Card Collector Investor Dealer. Okay, the historical information this guy drops is amazing. His perspective on the hobby, he's very even keel. He's very responsive to questions. Just one of my favorite guys to watch on sports cards. I mean, there's so many others, but it's guys like that when I started watching his channel, I think he had 200, 300 subscribers, and I thought to myself, man, there's no way this is going to stay low. I mean, he had such content was so good, and now he's at 6,000 subscribers, and I think he'll be at 50,000 in the next year or so. It's amazing stuff out there. So it is early. It's a great time.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've started watching his videos recently. He's one of the guys that I would have never known about. I've learned a ton about vintage cards, and just all kinds of stuff that I never knew.
In fact, if you have a chance, check out his series on grading, where he talks about just the grading scale, right? Even goes back to why do they have a 5 and a 10 and a 9? Just some phenomenal details, and he breaks down the different vendors, and he's very unbiased about it too. He doesn't tell you one's better than the other. He talks about what their strengths, their weaknesses are, and gives you some historical information too about them, which that's what I love about it. His channel, the historical perspective is phenomenal. So
nice. Well, before we dig into these questions, I think you've got some questions for me. I've got some questions for you, but I want to do a couple quick shout outs, see who we got in the house tonight. We got Alec Lakovidis. Sorry if I mispronounced your last name there, Alec. What's going on, man? We got Brandon Moreno in the house. Says Ziggy.
Thank you, guys.
We got Matthew NHL in the house. I catch Matthew's content on TikTok sometimes. I like that Derrick Henry logo there. Sean Lane in the house. What's going on, man? Jackson Klein. Got House of Cards in the house. Sean Lane just got home from an unsuccessful prism hunt, but I got a 2020 Donruss, so there's that. That's great, man. And we're going to be talking about some 2020 prism tonight. Definitely. There you go. There you go.
I want to be your cup of coffee, guys. Watch in the morning, ready for the day.
Hey, look what we got. We got Brad, the PSA 7 comeback card investor in the house.
Yeah, somebody told me on my channel, I put a comment about him that said he's the best looking guy in sports cards. I know he's going to love to hear that, but they say he's the best looking guy in sports cards.
He gets the if there was a the sexiest man alive, but we have one for sports card, the sexiest sports card investor.
If women were into sports cards, his channel would really blow up. Could you imagine that? Because you know how guys like to watch women break cards for them. Could you imagine Brad breaking cards for women?
Well, he can't click the right button when he submits his cards to PSA, so he can have he's got to have something, right?
I have to say, that was great, a great video though. I love the one thing of Brad's channel is he's so authentic. Like I remember watching him back, I think it was in the spring when he ripped open the box of Donruss basketball and he's throwing around the cards. He's got the Zion Marvel and he's like, I don't know if I have anything good here. And I'm sitting there screaming, that's a good card. That's a good card. So I love watching his channel.
House of Cards. We'll get to this in just a second. Give a shout out here to Underdogs in the house. What's going on? Underdogs. It's got to be the hair. So let's go ahead because this is the hot topic. So Ziggy, this morning, I had the Panini America website open and I had the 2020 Prism football first off the line boxes up and I watched the Dutch auction unfold right in front of me. And I continuously attempted to check out, not really trying to buy, but I wanted to see what it closed out at because I'm working on a video around what Joe Burrow's injury, what effect is that going to have on the new releases, the remaining releases of 2020. And it got all the way down to $1,000. And then as soon as it hit $933, it was gone, disappeared.
I have to say, first of all, I was shocked. I'm not going to lie to you. I was amazed it got that low only because, first of all, I will say I shouldn't be, but I was because if hobby was selling for 1,000 right now, normally the first of the line has a premium to it, 50% or 100%. So I was thinking it'd be around 1,500 to 1,800. I thought 1,800 was more likely. But at the same time, when you look at how much they printed because of the parallels, there are a lot of boxes available. We're talking, several thousands of boxes available. So it kind of makes sense. Now, the fact it got to 1,000 really surprised me. I did not buy any. I still don't have the stomach to pull the trigger on that. And I will say this, if I did buy it, I wouldn't open it. Right, I would flip that. I would hold it probably for a year. I'd probably hold it for a year, like a nice wine, and sell it next year, because I do think with that rookie class, if you look at Burrow 2 years from now, I think that box is going to be worth a lot of money. When you look at some of the boxes, look at Mahomes' boxes and Lamar and stuff like that. So it was amazing to see it hit that level.
Yeah, I thought it was too, because I've been communicating back and forth. Shout out to Brad Nolan. He was on my channel Saturday night, but he was following along at the same time. He's like, I was texting him. He's like, hey, I'm watching it too. He's like, he was showing me that, you know, it'll freeze up when you go to add them to your cart, and that's how you know the traffic is really getting heavy and a lot of people are buying. But if you had the boxes already in your cart on one screen, and then you had the Dutch auction going on this screen, you could actually just refresh your cart and they would already be in your cart. And I think that's how the people, like, because as soon as it hit 933, it disappeared.
Yeah. It's very interesting. So we'll see, man. And then you saw that there's a few blasters that were ripped today. So
yeah, so you sent me a video earlier from Frank 502, and I watched him rip. But this looked like he got it from a retail store. Tell me about this.
Yeah, so that's what I think is really interesting. I'll just give everybody a tip. What I recommend is go into your eBay settings and put a search for 2020 Prism Blaster, and put it and save that search. And tomorrow you're going to get a bunch of alerts, because clearly it's already selling. But look at the alert on where that's being sold from, where the buyer or the seller is, and that'll let you know what region it's in, right? So you will see a lot of pre-sales that are being taken on. But if it's a picture where it's, you know, somebody took in their kitchen and it's in Kentucky, hey, you know Kentucky's got retail. And the one thing people ask me at retail all the time is, when's it coming out? From what I've seen historically, it's regional. There doesn't seem to be, I mean, there might be a major release day they announce, but it appears to hit regional in different areas, different times. I'm in the DC area. I think we lag. It seems to me that the Texas and Midwest get their retail products before the rest of the country, but that's not always the case.
Really? Texas and Midwest seem to get it before, but that's not always the case.
Yeah, and Texas is because they're close to the manufacturers, to Panini.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I also understand that some manufacturing takes place in Florida. I know a lot of the Topps products get shipped out of Florida too. So
now, have you heard any updates? So I know you're fully aware of all the content that's being produced out there. So you've probably seen some videos that Cash and Cultura, probably not saying that right with his accent, but he's a cool guy. And I saw him make a couple videos where he actually was catching the MJ Holdings people in the act, skimming boxes of Mosaic and stuff without stocking the shelves. Has that improved at all that you're aware of, or are we still experiencing that in retail?
I've heard it has improved. I remember watching a video. I want to say GTS had an interview on with one of the I don't know who it was, but they talked about, I think it was with Panini actually. And they did talk about that. And they do encourage, if you see that going on, or report it. But I will tell you, I've spoken to the reps of the stores that I go to, and they have told me that they're under strict instructions. They know the importance of the products. They know the importance of getting the products out. And for example, in my area, they're told they have to take pictures of the product on the shelf. So they will get there. You'll be standing around. They'll go, okay, wait for me to put it on the shelf. And once it's on the shelf, I take a picture and then you can go. So I'm hoping that that's helping prevent this. Now, the reality is, man, there's going to be problems, right? There will be bad apples, because there's a lot of money opportunity in this. I mean, Prism football, I think, is going to go for about $120 to $150 a blaster, which is, in my opinion, only the tip of what we could see with basketball next year. Now, that will be interesting, but it's going to be crazy.
That's so 100 to 120 per blaster. Is that on the secondary market, like eBay?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I saw some eBay sales around 120 to 150, maybe more. Again, I haven't checked. I didn't check today. I did see that one of the first off the line boxes had already resold for 1,100. There was one still at 1,100. So someone must have bought one and flipped it, and then one at, I think, 1,500 as well.
Wow. But okay, so a blaster, I saw that the first off the line, it's got an extra autograph card. It's got 12 packs instead of the mega that's got 10. But this Prism has only got what, like 4 or 6 cards per pack?
Yeah, so just to break down, and a great place to go to, Cardboard Connection breaks down the
Okay.
different options. But your typical hobby box is 12 packs, and I think it's 12 cards per pack. Don't quote me on that. And first of line is the same as a hobby box, but it includes guaranteed short prints and a guaranteed short print autograph. So that's pretty cool. Now, I will tell you guys a little history here. Back in the day, and I'm just talking like 3 years ago, in 2017, okay, first off the line, Football Prism was $120 a box. And the reason for that, Panini used to do first off the line, it really had little to do with the refractors. It had more to do with them giving the product its suggested retail price. That only went away last year. Last year is the first time that Panini started using the Dutch, what I refer to as Dutch oven auctions, and baking the prices, right? Because they're able, like today, I mean, I'll be honest, I had friends who bought it $1,700, $1,500 on those boxes of Prism, right? Are they mad? Well, they're probably a little frustrated with that. You know, I mean, I don't like, to me, it's lazy of Panini to use the Dutch auction. Their argument is they're trying to get around from bots. Okay, then use better bot management. Or look what Topps has done. I don't know if you followed this, but Topps, they actually do their membership programs where they give members an opportunity to one box of each of these exclusive products, and those members can buy one box at the suggested retail price. Now think about the logistics that Topps has to do to ship out one box to thousands of different people, right? Panini's taking the lazy way, right? They can easily, most of the people who are going to buy first of the line often are breakers, right? Because what do breakers, and I'll be honest, I love breakers, but here's what they're going to do. They're going to buy 10 boxes, right? They're going to look at what the secondary market is. If it's $2,300 a box, they're going to tell you the break is a $23,000 break. Now they might put some discounts in it, but you're not going to disclose what they paid for it, right? They can use that inflated breaking price. And again, I understand that, but it frustrates me. Breakers are the ones, the big breakers too, by the way, are the ones who are going to get a lot of that first of the line product, right? And you'll see it in breaks coming up.
So would it then make sense, like, should I then target, if I want to be successful, because I have been, and the guys here in the community can vouch for that, I have not been doing nearly as many mail day videos as I used to, because I've been saving a lot of money, putting it aside. I want to do some, buy into some breaks here for the 2020 Prism. If I want to be successful in buying into a break, should I target a smaller breaker then, or? So give me some advice there.
Here's my thing. So there's several big breakers out there that I have used. I have nothing negative to say. Leighton Sports Cards is probably one of the biggest and well-known. They have very good break prices. Mojo Breaks, another one, very good break prices. And Jaspy's, right? Jaspy's probably has, unfortunately, the worst of the breaking prices, to be fair, okay? But I love Jaspy's. I prefer breaking in the Facebook community, because what I've seen in the Facebook community is a lot of those breakers break a lot less than anybody else, right? There's one breaker, for example, he got the women's, NBA Prism. He sold those boxes at $250 a box to members in his break group. Okay, that was selling, and they were selling for $300 or $400 on the Panini site, right? So he's selling them for $250. So in those break groups, I've always gotten better prices in those groups. Now, I would tell, so for example, I did do a Mojo break. I am in Mojo I went ahead and bought the Bucks in one break. So I want to try to get some Brady's. But I'm going to be targeting, there's several Facebook breakers that I'll be targeting, probably some PYTs. And I'm looking for single box, 3-box breaks. And I'm going to be targeting teams with quarterbacks. So I'll be going after the Colts with who's that? The rookie, I forget his name.
Eason.
And I also probably go after the Packers. And I'll see what happens to the Bengal price. If the Bengal prices dip because people think Burrow's bad, I would definitely go after Burrow. And I would also, and I tell you this too, I would rather spend the money on targeting in a break of Prism than probably any other product, because if you get base cards, they're going to have value. You're not going to see that. If you do a break of Flawless, you're really feast or famine. You know what I'm saying? So I like breaks of a product like Prism. Optic's a little more challenging, Optic and Select, because they're a little harder to hit. But again, I like those as well. And I still go back to using Starstock as a great barometer. I only break products that Starstock accepts, right? I'm not chasing products that Starstock doesn't have, because there's a reason Starstock doesn't have those products.
The reason why. That's what I love. I've tried to explain to people there's a reason why Starstock doesn't have those products. It's because they understand they're not the liquid products. They're not the gold standard.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at this year, you've got Prism right now. The next big release coming out will be Contenders. I'm a huge fan of Contenders, but I will tell you, Contenders is a brutal product. I mean, brutal in breaking as well. I would be cautious with Contenders. Personally, I would recommend buying singles when it comes to Contenders, right? And
Okay.
Contenders, if you're not familiar with it, what I love about Contenders, and I'm talking the NFL Contenders, not draft Contenders, okay? I don't like college products, but in the professional Contenders, this is an opportunity where you have your prospecting, okay? You can pick up, and it's also the auto card, right? You're chasing the auto. So you get some of those auto cards, put them away for a few years, get them graded, right? And they can have some value in the future. So I really love Contenders. I mean, if you look at the #1 Brady card, it's his Contenders auto card that people talk about. That is his, it's the GOAT rookie card. And think about that card. That was a 7th round pick, right? So, think back to 2001 when they were doing breaks and somebody got the Patriots and they were probably complaining they got Brady auto. Who the hell's the Brady guy, right?
This guy from Michigan.
Exactly. So that's what I love about, the breaking size. That you can do some prospecting Contenders, but again, I would tell people who aren't familiar, probably just focus on singles because it's a brutal product. You'll see people in there that you're like, who the hell is this player, right? He's on the practice squad or, he's been cut 4 times. So Contenders can be brutal. And then Optical, it's on the fringe whether Optic's going to be December or January, but I love Optic as well with the rated rookies. So.
Yeah, the Optic product. So is the Optic that's coming out in December, January going to look similar to the one that I've seen in the Optic preview?
Yeah, I believe so. So. You'll have the rated rookies as well. So just I'm a
good.
I'll say that's another brutal product because 1 auto per hobby box. It's a hard product to hit. That's why I'll tell you I love Prism for breaking because there's just so many different. If you look at the checklist, is another thing I recommend. Go out to Group Break Checklist or Cardboard Connection. Understand the checklist. You understand what cards you're looking to hit. For example, I haven't looked at the checklist yet, but there's going to be stained glass cards, right? So where are the stained glass cards popping up? There also will be Color Blast this year. So who else has got Color Blast, right? I mean, even a low player Color Blast could have some pretty good value in it. So I'm excited about Prism this year.
Yeah, man, me too. I was actually looking at the eBay solds earlier this morning in research for this video, and there was a Burrow. I found a Burrow, a Herbert, and a Tua that's already sold. Buy it now on eBay for like $500 a card. As we're talking base rookie card. But I mean, these people listed it. They're the very first ones on there. So it's very rare until all the other ones get on there. So I've seen this. You really pay, if you want to be compulsive, you want to be the first one to get it, then you got to pay the premium.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people are doing that because their next step is to be the first to grade it. Right. So I have friends who will go pay the premium to buy the first 10 Tuas on eBay. And then they're going to flash grade those things 5-day or whatever they can. And they're going to be on the market with them pretty quickly. So I understand that risk. It's a leverage opportunity. You have to have the cash to buy the cards, take the time, grade them. But if you can get those cards on the market first, you can make some money off of them. I'm more the patient grader because I do a lot of collecting with my son. So we send cards away every month, but I tell them all the time we're learning patience. You're going to see these cards in 9 months. It's not coming back anytime soon. I seldom do I rush grade cards.
Shout out to Malone Money Mindset, Anthony Malone in the house. Shout out to Green Bay, the pack opener, Braden in the house. And Bark Charlesley. What's up, Bark? I haven't seen you in a while. He's
WNBA, yep.
400 a box.
They sold out fast as well. Those cards went pretty quickly.
The Brady card made Contenders a good set. Yeah.
Yep.
That sounds like it. So tell me, Ziggy, have you ever hosted a break?
I have. So it's funny. Back in I've been playing around in breaks for a long time, and my sons and I, we did a few breaks on our Facebook channel years ago. And we do them mainly for fun. Like we seldom did it for profit. It was more like we get a bunch of product and we do a break at cost for friends in our Facebook group. And part of the reason was because my sons liked it. They love breaking cards for people. We like talking to people. It was a lot of fun. But I'll be honest, I hated the sorting. I absolutely loathe sorting cards for other people. And the shipping would drive me crazy and the labeling. So I appreciate breaking. I love breaking. It's not anything I ever want to do. It's just not something. I don't know. It's not for me. I'd love to guest break, right? I love to go visit a friend and help break a cards because that way I can just open them and let him ship them away, right? That's perfect for me. But that's what I'll say too. You know, for those people who do break, I have a lot of respect for the people who break. A lot of people who do it, they do it for the love of the hobby. They're not profiteering off it solely. I mean, they have to make some money. It's a living for them. But a lot of them really love the hobby, and a lot of them really are happy about seeing other people hit big cards. I'll tell you, that's another thing. I probably would not be happy about hitting big cards for other people.
Yeah, that'd be tough, right? like man, I really don't want to send this 10 out of 10 Justin Herbert to you, but
I'm gonna be the guy who opens the box of NT for a friend, and it's got the $500,000, you know, Zion Williams in there or something like that, right? So if products make it to my house, they're normally going to get ripped by my boys. It's just like they're wolves.
So yeah, so it sounds like a lot of work if you do want to host a break, because you probably, you've got to keep an Excel sheet, you've got to figure out how to do you're going to do your raffle system, right, for people buying in and selecting their teams and everything.
Well, say again, there's a lot of breaking going on, and I'll even say this is kind of the second wave of breaking in many ways. I was back in 2016, 17, saw the rise of breaking, and I used to follow a channel called Breaker Culture, which is now Bench Clear Media. And I say that because back in that day, the breaking world was the Wild West, and there were a lot of scam breaks that went on, okay? And the most infamous one of all times is, anybody, right? There it is. Sean said it. Brandon Cooks to 99. And I encourage you to go Google this. It's basically a video where the guy's doing the video, he's doing the break, and he basically is hiding a card, he slides, he basically takes a redemption off the table and keeps your attention on the camera going, Brandon Cooks to 99, Brandon Cooks to 99. You can see the guy taking off the table.
Oh man.
So back and that started, there was a lot of, you know, no trust in the community. And I think Breaker Culture came out and it made where you could review. And you'll even hear from the breakers, there was a lot of competition between the breakers, right? The breakers didn't always get along at some of these events. But since then, the breaker community, I think, has really settled in. And there's what I refer to as the old school breakers. Those breakers often have allocation, which is a key difference than what I refer to as kind of the next generation kitchen breakers, which again, I'm not knocking that, but a lot of people right now, they buy retail and they can make a break at home and they can, you know, sell cards. They can make more money off a break doing it at home, right? If I get a blaster and I spend $20 on it at the store, I can sell it to you for 50, but I could probably break it for you for 60, right? So you're going to see a lot of that happening. And again, I'm fine with that. But what I am concerned about is it opens up for more fraud, more complaints, more. I personally would stay away from that unless I really know who the person is. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, no. I mean, I've thought about it, like eventually when my channel gets big enough, you know, and I have the funds and the resources and maybe the sponsorships or something to do a break here on the channel. So obviously it would be completely ethical and everything be videotaped, and I would be Brandon Cooks to 99 while I'm sliding a Tom Brady auto off. That's ridiculous, man.
And I do encourage you to do it for a couple of reasons. Number one, to experience it, right? Do it. It's fun to do. Go through the pain of the shipping and see if you like it. Maybe you'll like it. Maybe that'll be your favorite part. And I also think what's nice is when you have an established channel like this, like yourself or Comeback or some of these other guys, you have a reputation that you're protecting as well. You're not likely to be the guy that's going to scam, right? Because you're trying to build a reputation. What I'd be more concerned is, look, on Facebook, anybody can be anybody, right? I've admin lots of Facebook accounts, and every day I see people getting kicked out for scamming, okay? And these scammers aren't stupid because they'll just create another account and they'll come back in and do the same thing. So that's another thing I like about the Facebook community and the breaking community. There is a lot more self-policing going on, which isn't perfect, but the community talks, right? If a scam goes down, I'll often hear about it from other admins. Hey, you know, such and such, you know, got busted for scamming or didn't do a payment or whatever. So I like that self-policing of the breaking community.
So here's an interesting question from House of Cards. How do you get and I don't know what he's talking about. Forgive me. I'm very interested in this topic. How do you get allocation without a brick and mortar local card shop?
It depends. So my understanding is For example, Upper Deck requires you to have a brick and mortar store in order to get any allocation from them. I don't know about Topps. I don't think that's the case with Topps, and I don't think it's the case with Panini. Most of the guys that I know who got into breaking, right, or years ago, started very early on, and they were able to talk to distributors before this thing really became hot. We're talking 2015, 2016. It still was big. And what allocation really comes down to, how much are you buying from me? So, for example, I know some small breakers who just, they stomached it for first few years, right? They would buy, they'd sell at very thin margins, but after a while, they'd get allocated products. And allocated products is a huge deal for a breaker, okay? Because the suggested retail price on all of these Prism products, guys, is $120 a box, okay? The football and the basketball. So if a breaker gets that, or a store gets it at allocated price, that's what they're paying, maybe $250. Some of them will pay less, and that's great. That's part of the hobby, right? So when you get to allocation, that really gives you, and if I have one allocated product, if I get Prism in, right, and I've got that allocated, that can help support my business where I can take a loss on hoops, or I can take a loss on other products. And that's another thing too, is that years ago, these breakers did that. They would lose money on some products. They had to stomach it in order to get the allocated products from Prism or an NT. You had to take 50 cases of hoops. Now, everybody's eating up everything. So the market's changed a lot.
Wow.
Is really key. If you find, in fact, I think Card Collector 2 was talking about this. He bought a store, I think it was back in 2019. One of the key things, if you're opening a store or looking to do any, get any business, is the allocations. If you can buy a store with allocations, that's more valuable than you realize. It's kind of like buying a liquor license in some areas, right? Because those allocations are guaranteed, and I don't know the specific details, but they get you product.
That's fascinating. So your angle, let's dive into your angle now, currently in the market, and tell me what you've been up to lately. I'm sure it involves Starstock to a certain degree, right?
Yep.
Or maybe heavily.
I love Starstock, and I will say I was mentioned a little before we got on. So I just talked to a good friend of mine. I have a friend of mine I refer to him as kind of a power seller. And there's a lot of guys like this, right? Who will they'll buy cases, they'll pre-order cases. In fact, a good story is just pre-order cases right now of whatever product it is. They get those cases, they rip through it personally, and then they break it down, what they're going to sell on eBay, what they sell on CMOC, what they grade. So I just talked a friend of mine into sending like 8,000 cards to Starstock that he previously was going to send to CMOC. Now, I don't want to upset my CMOC friends, okay? But I saved my buddy here $2,500 by convincing him basically to use, Starstock for the processing. And I'm excited because I also think I personally send any rookie card I can to Starstock, and then I send the other stuff to CMOC. So I use both of them. Okay. Now on Starstock, for me, I sent about 2,000 cards to them. And it's the boys cards. And most of these cards are just base Prisms that we had over the last few years. And we've basically been selling. And what's nice is, we sell to get other things. So if my son wants to get into a break, I'm like, well, let's go sell some cards. And then we can look on there, and you're familiar with Starstock. You can look at the activity, you can see the offers that are out there, and we can debate, do we want to accept that offer or not? And I'll tell you, we accept offers sometimes that are low because my son wants to get into a break, right? So I remember we sold a bunch of Kevin Knox cards off recently that I want to say $25, $40 a piece. That I'm not saying that was a bad deal, but I know that was a good deal. But my son used that to buy some Donruss clear breaks, right? And he got a jaw base card in. So he was excited about that. So for me, I'm using Starstock basically take money out so I can buy other stuff. And then I'm sending more and more stuff into Starstock. Like I sent another 500 cards into them. And I'm also sending a lot of my graded cards to them now. My PSA 9s, I've decided to start sending to Starstock. And here's what I do there. I either decide if I'm going to crack them and resub them for BGS, or if I want to send them to Starstock and just move on.
Interesting. And do you typically lean towards selling them on Starstock?
And here's what I do. I'll look at what is the price of the BGS 9.5 versus the PSA 9 and the PSA 10 that I missed, right? So for example, if I graded a card hoping it was going to come in a PSA 10 so I could sell it for 300, but it comes back a PSA 9, it's only worth 70, but that BGS 9.5 is say around 200, then yeah, I'll probably crack it. Now I also don't rush that. I'll do bulk grades on those BGSs. I'm not in a rush. And again, I'm doing with cards that I believe are going to hold that value, for that 9-month period, they're probably gonna be gone. Okay, so it's not for everything. You have to evaluate each card and make a decision what it is. I'll tell you, for example, I had a John Collins Silver Prism that came back a PSA 9, and I sat on the fence whether I was going to crack it and go BGS or I'm going to go send it to Starstock. I did send it to Starstock. I'm just not sure where John Collins and the Hawks are going to go with all the changes that are going on there. So that, just it depends.
What's the BGS turnaround time like right now?
I haven't done BGS in a while. I've heard terrible stories. I hear they're pretty bad right now. And to be fair, they're all struggling right now. They're all busy. And I'll even say, to be fair, you want them to take their time and do it right? If all of a sudden they started flooding them back quickly, then you should be a little concerned about the quality of the grade. So I hear BGS, I think it's like around, I don't want to say it. I don't know. I will say here's a lesson learned though. When I first got in the hobby, so I'm wearing my my Kareem Hunt jersey tonight.
Nice.
Okay, so when I got in the hobby in 2017, I was a big Kareem Hunt fan, and I was on this mission. I'm just going to buy all the Kareem Hunt cards. My goal was to buy them for $40 or less. I'm going to grade them all, and I'm going to just kill it. I'm going to make a ton of money. He's going to be Rookie of the Year, everything, right? So I had about, I don't know, 50 of these cards, a lot of beautiful cards of Kareem Hunt, Prisms and Origins and Contenders. And I send them all away to get graded, BGS. And you talk about the funny story that Brad said about clicking the wrong button. I decided to go with the unrushed grading service. I'm like, well, why rush it? I'll just go with the unguaranteed rush problem or whatever heck. Took 11 months to get those cards back.
Oh, my God.
Now, think about what happened to Kareem Hunt in those 11 months. Those cards went from potentially hundreds to like pennies, man. In fact, thank God the Browns drafted him or picked him up, and he's playing again. And I have slowly been dumping, and I don't say dumping, but slowly been selling off my Kareem Hunt cards. If I get 40 a card, I'm super excited. So you will see I have a lot of Kareem Hunt graded cards on Starstock. If you're looking, those are mine. And I'm offered.
He had a really nice touchdown that hurdled over a guy and everything this past weekend.
I tell you, his rookie year, he looked phenomenal. His speed, his hands. I wish he stayed. Think about it. If he was still with the Chiefs right now, I think he looks better than any of the running backs they have right now. I still do. I mean, I like him. He just made a huge mistake, man. And
well, he's on a 1-year contract.
Yeah.
So chances are, I mean, dude, he could go to the Steelers next year. Imagine if he went to the Steelers next year. That'd be huge. There's your Kareem Hunt bump right there.
He makes one hiccup and his career could be over. You know what I'm saying? It just worries me about him.
Yeah. I mean,
I wear this as a reminder to not invest in running backs.
Hey, we don't talk like that on this channel, Ziggy.
That being the case, there are a few I like, but it's a reminder, man. Just you have to learn those lessons. I think part of the lesson there really was the grading. I spent way too long for the grading, man, for a year, so that killed me.
Yeah. I mean, 11 months. Geez, that's crazy.
Let me ask you, how have you been using Starstock? Have you been buying, selling? How was this too? Did you make enough money off of the set that you broke, the Donner set on Starstock to cover the cost of the set? Did that work out for you?
I did. So far, that has gone well. I sold the Denzel Mims autographed card for probably a little bit too low. I sold it for 25, and I probably could have had it a little bit higher, but it was a base Donruss autograph. And at the time, he was hurt, and I just didn't go back and readjust the price. So I sold that for 20. I sold the Canvas Burrow a few weeks back for like 30. I want to say it was like $30. And I've sold a bunch of other cards from that hobby box, and I think it's about break even.
Yep.
It's close. It wasn't, there's still more skill position players that are on Starstock that haven't necessarily sold yet. But I definitely made way more than my investment on those base Donruss complete sets. Mm-hmm. And just on the main quarterbacks, the big three, Herbert, Tua, and Burrow, and then you throw in CeeDee Lamb and Clyde Edwards and all the other really good skill positions this year. And those complete sets only cost me $40 when I found them at Target. So that was a big win there. And almost every single one of those cards came Starstock Day.
I was looking at maybe picking one of those up and grading a couple of the cards out of it. Now, I will tell you, here's something I saw too, and is that if you look at the 2017 complete sets, I think they're like 350. Now, the reason I
Wow.
mention that is that bad price? Because you get 2 Mahomes rookies in there. You get the rookies card and you get the Pat Mahomes rated rookie card.
That pays for the box pretty much. I mean, if you look,
The risk is they have to be in good shape, grade well. I will tell you, I bought a box of Topps, a top set off of I think it was Fanatics, and received it, and the corner is smashed on the box. I haven't opened it yet, but it definitely irks me. So that's the one thing I'm good. But I was looking at maybe picking up a complete set of the Donruss at 350 because you do get, like I said, you could keep it sealed or you could rip it, and you got several. You got CMO, you got McCaffrey in there as well. You know, you've got Watson in there. Again, these are Donruss base paper,
yeah,
but you
Chris Godwin.
yeah.
Yeah, you actually, yeah, there's quite a few good rookies that year.
And the same thing too. These the Donruss sets that you ripped, I think they're on eBay for 60 or 70. Again, that's another one I'm thinking about picking up a few of those and holding on to them for a few years, right? Because as you look at the historical ones, even I think the Lamar year is I think $200 a set. I think Murray's is around $200 a set. So there's value in those complete sets, kind of holding them. That's something I do. I love picking up the Topps complete sets, and then the boys and I will kind of go through 2 or 3 of those, and we'll break the set down, and then we'll grade the good cards. What I do feel bad about is you have all these extra cards at the end, right, that you don't know what to do with. So I do encourage donating them to charity, Boys and Girls Club, cards for kids. There's a lot of different places you can get those cards to, but you do get left with a bunch of extra cards.
So you've got what, probably like 5,000 cards on Starstock or something?
I've got about 2,400 right now.
About 2,400. Are you buying anything on Starstock, or is it pretty much selling on?
I do. I bought a bunch of Tatis cards. I bought some of the I like Jason Dominguez, his Bowman Chrome cards. I've been buying up those. I also use and here's another thing I've been doing. I've been upgrading my cards. Like I sent in a bunch of cards and I sold off a bunch of Jaws that were B's and C's, and they would buy some A's. So I am stockpiling a bunch of Jaw A's. You know what I'm saying? So that's another thing I have to say I love about Starstock is that you could ultimately use them to be kind of your screening system for your cards. Now, don't get me wrong, because there is a shipping back to you fee you got to pay for. But I dumped them, like I said, 2,500 cards. Now I went on there and realized, hey, there's a couple cards there that are actually pretty good. They came back Starstock A's that, you know what, I think I'm going to grade. So I just pulled back about 12 hero cards, Tyler Heroes, off the account that many of them I sent up and others that I had upgraded to. You know what I'm saying? Like I sold off the B's and then got a bunch of A's. So I will send those 12 A's away and get those graded. And then when they come back graded, I might send them back to Starstock to sell it, right? It just depends. I love that. Again, the fees, I cannot stress this enough, guys. No processing, no storage fee. I mean, right there, that's huge to me.
5% transaction only.
5% transaction. That's what I was saying. Next thing, there's a few things that I'd like to see them do, and I know that they follow your channel. I would like to see them to give me an ability to see transactions in kind of like and CMOC gives you the list of all your buys, your sells, also your withdrawals and your deposits. Like I've been taking money out, but I don't know how much money I've taken out. I don't know when I did. Sometimes I go, did I pull it out of the eBay account or not? You know what I'm saying? I'd like to see a record of that. I will also say this: they have been phenomenal as far as customer support. As an example, I had a case where I bought 4 Bowman Chromes, and when I looked at my account, it turned out 2 of them turned out to be paper. When I went back to look at the transactions, I contacted them. They said, there was a mistake made. They credited my account and corrected everything for me. So they're very responsive. And I know, people have complained about, and I've heard this too, where the one thing I'll say is that when you send the cards to them, they kind of go in this dark hole of they send you the message, we got them, and then you just wait to see them appear. I would like for them to drop them into a queue for you. You know what I'm saying? So that queue, you can see what was recently dropped in the queue. What's my new queue? And I could scan it. I could verify if the card's right, if this is what I sent. Because right now they just drop it into your general collection. And you don't know, only reason I have no new cards there is because the number of cards has gone up, right? I had 2,400 yesterday. Now I have 2,450. So I would like to see them use a queuing system. I'd like to see more auditing of the transactions. And I suspect all this will come. They're still very, very new. And that's why I'm excited to get people, to use Starstock. Because again, I see a lot of value in the solution. Whether you're
Yeah.
unloading cards or you're trying to flip cards and make money. I know a lot of people are looking at it to make money, but I look at it as, like I said, for my boys, we sent a bunch of cards there that have been sitting around that we didn't want to list on eBay or take the time to send it, to get them sold. And now we're basically picking fruit off the tree, right? We go in there and we pull fruit off, and we can use that to go buy more cards. So they're learning about that as well.
And your friend who does a lot of breaks, and he's got all those excess base cards, right? And
Yep.
all those rookie cards that he can send in and sell for a fraction, not save what, approximately $7,000 on
Yeah.
8,000 cards,
Yeah.
send them to Starstock, and then he saved himself $7,000 in listing fees, and then he's gonna only pay 5% transaction, and it's good for guys like me who want to buy on Starstock and flip on Starstock because he's going to take a much lower sale price.
Yep, you're absolutely right. It's funny because, so I'll tell you, years ago, I got him to use CMOC, and he sent a bunch of cards up there, and then he called me and goes, hey, can you help me price them? So I remember helping him, giving some guidance on that, and he'll tell you he's not very active on that. And to him, again, he's just looking to sell cards. He's not sitting there, nickel and diming, or he wants to sell the cards. So I said, you're going to love Starstock. I'm like, when you get it set up, I'd be happy to help you, going into price, because I do think that's another thing. It's a little more challenging to price cards on Starstock than it is on CMOC, because they have they have a lot more historical data and more comps out there. You can go, oh, well, it's going to the market for this. On Starstock, your new cards show up and you have no idea. You're often the first person to have them, right? So I have a ton of baseball cards on Starstock that I haven't even set a price on. For example, I have a lot of Bowman First and Bowman First autos that I sent up there, right? Which I like, because those, to me, Bowman is a prospecting sport. So I can put them up there and people can see they're in the vault, right? So they can put offers up there, and then I can say, hey, I like that offer, and sell the card. But I don't have to expose a card for the wrong price. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have to list an auto for $10 and find out next day he got called up, he's a $50 card. I can sit and wait for someone to post, hey, I'm looking for this card, I'll pay $50. And I'll go, holy smokes, it's worth $50? Hey, sure. Right? So I do love that about Starstock, because it helps people who don't know the value of their card, right, based on the market, see what the offers are. Now, I will check CMOC. I might check eBay. But again, I also take in consideration that 5%, man, is really great, So
yeah, it is really great. I mean, I've seen some incredibly low, just like anomaly sales on there. And I know some offers are just really just like ridiculously low. And I'm like, come on, guys, at least, make it reasonable, like within 70% or something of what they're asking. But that's a great point. I've done that on several occasions where I'm like, hey, there's no cards listed for sale, but I see that there's 3 in the vault. I really like this card. I'll put an offer for $15, and hey, they'll get that notification, their email. Maybe then they're like, hey, I want to sell it for that,
Yep. My only thing I tell you too, it's a great strategy. I've seen those low bids too, and they're not obnoxious, in my opinion. They're kind of smart, right? Because let's be honest, I accidentally hit one of them one time and sold the card for $1. Okay, I didn't realize what I was doing. So I think that happens, but also I think people, their value is what they want for the card now. So they might go, you know what, hell, I'm getting out of the sports card business. I'll take $15, and they'll sell. So if you're placing those offers, I think it's great. You have to have the money in your account to do that, which I don't like. It ties up my funding, but I do put out some offers from time to time to see what's happening. Also, another thing that I saw another person talk about is I'll be selling a card and have offers out that are lower than what I'm selling. And I did that with Tyreek Hill early on. I had it select, and I'd be selling him for like 19, but I had offers to buy him at like 9, right? So that if someone sold him at 9, I'd give him at 9. I just relist him at 17. If someone hit my at 17, I was selling. So you're buying and selling the same guy at the same time.
Yeah, I was talking to James Reyes, Jimbo Reyes, about that. He's from Sports Card Investment Group. He was on my channel a couple of weeks ago, and he's got like 8,000 cards on Starstock as well. And he was explaining to me that same concept of flipping the same guy in that manner. And I think it's just so much opportunity in Starstock, and their user interface with the charts and being able to give that historical price data that shows you another layer, almost like market movers like data compared to ComC's data tool, which I showed you is a history point, which I've been educated. Someone corrected me and said, yes, a history point, but you can earn history points by winning their challenges or paying for them, or for a penny a piece.
See, I didn't even know that was there. Like I've looked at it in the past, but I never used the historical pricing because to me, I don't know, it just wasn't relevant. And I'll say I just use Starstock more CMOC to sell. So I learned from you on that video stuff about CMOC. Another tip, I saw somebody here mention about the storage fees on CMOC. One thing I do is I monitor my storage fees. So when they get to a certain price, I will do a portfolio sell. And you can do that. So one thing I love about CMOC, I'd love to see Starstock do this, where you can put together a bunch of cards, like put all your football cards together and sell the portfolio for $1,000 or $1,500, whatever it is. I did a lot of portfolio selling in my CMOC account. After a while, when those start getting up and the storage fees get there, I just bulk sell all that stuff off, which is another great way to buy, right? If you want to buy bulk, go look on CMOC and portfolio sales, and you can make offers on those sales and buy a portfolio from a guy. Right. So it can go either way. It's a great way to sell them. It's a great way to pick them up. And I'm wondering, it's something I thought about. If I buy a portfolio, do I get 6 free months of storage? I think I do. Right. Because they don't charge you for the first 6 months, I think, on CMOC.
I have yet to send in cards to CMOC, and I bought a ton of, I've got basketball cards in the beginning. I've got a ton of really interesting Shaq and Kobe, Magic Johnson stuff cards that under Brad PSA 7 comeback investor advice. And I still need to send into COMC, but their wait times and their delays have really just kind of caused me to put those on the back burner. But
I said that tip there is phenomenal. So
yeah, what do you think about the new Phoenix set?
What is he saying? There's a 30% code for Fanatics. Where's the code?
If you do not buy Phoenix, but if you do go on eBay and buy a 30% off code for Fanatics. Oh, interesting. So apparently there's a coupon for sale on eBay. I wonder how much that coupon
I'd love to see that. Yeah, I will say I did buy one of the Phoenix sets. I bought it at $99. My plan was to rip that with the boys and probably grade the quarterbacks, but I haven't done it yet. And I'll be honest, I'm not a huge fan of Phoenix. It's not a primary set. It's also not a Starstock approved set, right? But I like that tip. I think that's great. Again, that's another one I do think for $70 to put that set away with the quarterbacks that are in it, I think it's going to have value in a year. I just don't see that. And again, there's no secret, guys. Sealed wax is the best investment in this hobby. It really is. In fact, one thing I would tell you to do, Andy, as a football guy, is start diversifying by buying sealed wax and products in sports you don't like. Then you're not going to rip it. Okay. Like, for example, I'm picking up some hockey. I don't know hockey enough to rip it. I also been buying soccer sealed because I don't know soccer enough to rip it. My boys aren't interested in it either, but the value of those products will go up. So if you don't like some other product, maybe in the off season, do some baseball investing or some hockey investing in steel product, sell that or trade it for football products later on. So
that's a great idea. I did that last time, like a few months back, on some Gypsy Queen baseball that I found in Walmart, and I just held it and ended up selling it to my friend. And he
had no interest in it, right? It's easy to hold stuff you have no interest in.
Yeah, I had no interest. It sat on my workbench for weeks, and I had no interest in ripping it. I'm like, that's a great idea. Thank you for that, Ziggy. I'm definitely fast payouts. Now, one comment I've heard before when I had my debate with Brad from Comeback. He said there was a guy that said, I don't do Starstock because they don't have PayPal, and he was positive about them not accepting PayPal, and I thought for sure that Starstock had PayPal.
They do have PayPal. Now, here's one thing I find interesting about their PayPal payout is they pay you with goods and services, so you do get hit with a 3% fee on the payout. I think it's a 3% fee.
You can just get a check. Like I have a check.
Absolutely, you can do the ACH or the check, but I would say I've taken it out as PayPal's, right? Because my boys want to do something quickly, and I realize when they send it to you. And maybe it's not 3%, but there is a fee, and it's not a Starstock fee. They're not taking the money, but they're paying you back in PayPal as a goods and services So there's a fee when the money comes into you that PayPal hits you on. So that is something to consider, right? If you're looking at 5% that Starstock gets, PayPal hits you. So the answer is that, like you said, do the check or the ACH if you want to get around it. I just, patience is not something children have often. And
Yeah, right.
it's been fun. I will tell you, here's a funny thing. One of my sons have the 2 CMOC accounts, and one of them has a negative balance right now, right? And the reason for this is that we sent. So first of all, we buy and sell in the account, right? And he had about $50 in the account, and then we sent 1,000 cards to get processed, and they've been sitting there forever. And all of a sudden, they all process at once. So when they all process at once, you have a negative balance. Okay, which irks me. And now he has to wait. He gets his monthly allowance. He has to wait till December before he can send money in to now basically release all those cards, which he'll be able to sell again and get that money back. But that is something that drives me and my sons crazy about, again, CMOC, is that you have to take in consideration. You need to have money in your account when you're sending cards into process. And if they process in a week or 7 months, whenever it hits it, it's going to hit your account, right? Which, again, if you spend a bunch of money, that sucks. I never worry about the Starstock, right? Starstock, I'm just sending them cards and I'm taking money out. I love Starstock. In fact, I have yet to send money to Starstock at all. I haven't had to. I've just sent them cards.
Me too. Yeah, me as well. And I got the little check signed by Scotty Greenberg.
I love it.
Got that thing on a plaque.
How long did the check take to get to you?
A week, 1 business week.
Okay. That's awesome. Because the payouts on PayPal have been in the day, which blows me away. Because I'll tell you, CMOC, when I do PayPal from them, it normally takes a business week to get processed. And I actually haven't done a CMOC PayPal withdrawal probably in the last 8 months. So during COVID, I don't know what it would take. So I'm impressed. Again, Starstock has done a great job with customer service. They've been responsive on the payouts. Big fan.
Brad posted up the actual comment.
Yeah, because they're not connected to PayPal. They have their own payment system. Yeah, I can see where they're saying that. But yeah, they do have PayPal withdrawal, and they do take PayPal to get money in. Yeah, it's Dustin. You need to try Starstock. Man, I tell you, everybody in the hobby should really have a Starstock account. In fact, that's one thing I mentioned to Jeff or to Scott and the team there. I want them to do the gift of Starstock, right? Because I'll tell you right now, as soon as they do that, I'm going to start giving away Starstock accounts on my channel. I'll tell you that right now. I will start giving away. I'll give you a couple cards in a Starstock account because I want people to use Starstock. And I think it's fun because you get a card or two, you can sell it, you can trade it, do what you want to do with it. And that's another thing to think of it is, it's kind of like trading, right? Yeah. You look at the cards and go, hey, I want to buy this card. It's $100. Well, I can sell the Fox and I can sell this Burrow and I can sell this and I get enough money to buy this card. So you're basically trading those 3 cards you sell to get the card you want, right? Or you're upgrading. I'm selling 3 Bs to get an A. Love that about Starstock.
Yeah, check it out, Dustin. And if you do, there's a promo code. Ziggy, what's the promo code that you
I know the one that I've used in the past was the Sports Card Investor one, which is SCI. I know the guy you had on this week was SS Investor, I think.
SS Investor, yeah.
There's several out there. I honestly don't know if there's a back-end affiliate program, but I'm a huge fan of Starstock. Again, like yourself, I'm not affiliated with them. I don't work for Starstock. I just really like what they're doing, and I'm supporting what they're doing. So
you get a free account, Dustin, and they'll give you $5 bonus, I believe, by putting in one of those promo codes.
The SCI one was you got, I think, some money for sending them cards, just to send them cards, and you got money if you sent money in. So it worked on 2 sides.
And I think I heard Dustin on one of his videos say he recently went to a card show. I think he was saying he bought some 90s junk wax to rip. But I'm pretty sure, Dustin, you've got to have some rookie cards of some active players. Maybe, I think you mentioned Ryan Finley or somebody.
Well, I do. I have him. I'm very excited about that, by the way.
Going up. I mean, he's going up.
So I'll say I'm the guy who is on Starstock with the Finley Silver Prism Auto PSA 9. I just priced him today. I have no idea what I'll get for him, but I did put him up there. And again, another thing I love about Starstock is being anonymous. You don't know who the buyers and sellers are. That to me is very cool.
Yeah.
I mean, people think about that, but with the other platforms, with eBay and with CMOC, I see the buyer and seller, I see their name. right? Which gives you insight on kind of what they're doing. On Starstock, you don't know who's buying or who's selling, which I think I kind of like that.
Give it a shot for Finley's going. Yeah, I mean, he certainly got an opportunity for the next possible 2 years.
He looked bad last year, though. He looked really bad, man.
Well, I mean, and it's like my video that I had to get off my chest yesterday. I mean, their offensive scheming in Cincinnati is terrible. I mean, it's terrible.
Well, it kind of makes me wonder: is Finley a guy who's just in the wrong place? And if he was in a different place, would he play better? Because you're right, he suffered last year because he got crushed. And they go out and get a #1 pick. They put Burrow there. Now Burrow gets crushed. So, as you know, man, a lot of the NFL success has to do with the program you end up playing for. It has, in my opinion, I think it has less to do with your talent as an athlete and more about the program, unfortunately. You know, because you see some really talented players go to places that they're just not going to get a good chance and they don't get the protection.
Yeah, you're right. Like if you put Patrick Mahomes in Cincinnati, I think he would have a very similar year to Joe Burrow of how it's unfolded. And Joe Burrow's looked really good based on how many times he's thrown the ball. But if you put Joe Burrow in Kansas City system with Andy Reid, the offensive line, the weapons, the run game, the whole 9 yards, now all of a sudden he becomes an MVP caliber player. Not to say that he's better than Patrick Mahomes, because Patrick Mahomes you can't make that comparison unless you actually put him in that scenario, you know, because it's a whole team effort.
I look at Patrick Mahomes. I think he's phenomenal. I do think he's going to be a generational talent, but I think Watson is a great quarterback as well. Same draft class, terrible place. He's in a terrible place, and unfortunately, I think he's doomed there. I don't think he's going to leave there. He's a great athlete. He's really big in the community. He'll probably spend his career there, and I understand that, but he'll probably never see a ring.
Yeah, I mean, he has played so well, man. And I actually bought a Deshaun Watson PSA 9 optic rookie card on Starstock for $55. I thought that was a great price point.
Yeah, I bought some Menchie's early on. That has been a mistake.
Yeah, my buddy Carter, he's covers LSU football and huge DJ Chark fan. He's like, dude, Gardner Minshew's killing all my DJ Chark rookie cards. He sucks. But now you got Jake Luton, and he's had a couple good weeks, but he really struggled this past week. So
who's going to get Lawrence? Is it going to be
Lawrence? See, this is my beef, and this goes back to the similar thing as, and I'll remove this. I'll show on Ryan Finley sets, but he's predicted to go to the Jets. But see, it's like the Jets. They don't. The problem is not Sam Darnold necessarily. It's like the entire Adam Gase is a terrible head coach.
Yeah, the GM. I heard someone said that Lawrence might stay his senior year. Could you imagine if he stays to avoid the Jets?
Dude, if I was him, I would.
Honestly. I would too, kind of, right? You're like, at the same time, think like this. Remember back when wasn't it Eli Manning who made the big stink that he wasn't going to go to San Diego and force the trade? So, I mean, could he do the same thing with the Jets? I mean, look, I'm not coming out. I think someone else did that years ago too, right? So I agree. I'm a huge Lawrence fan. I want to see that young man have an amazing career, but I also don't want to see him get punished. and let me just say, if Gary Vee is watching your channel, okay, I know he's a big Jets fan, but man, I don't want to see Lawrence with the Jets.
I don't want to see him end up like Joe Burrow or Carson Palmer or David Carr or Andrew Luck. I mean, it's pretty much the same thing happened to all those guys.
This just asked, and it's several assets. I have not received any grades back from any Starstock A's I've sent out. And again, I'm sending out PSA through my submitter, and I'm using the 45 days, so I'm not going to see them for months. As soon as I get them back, though, I will definitely share with people what those results are.
Ricardo says, I don't know about that. I thought I heard people say any QB would succeed in New England. I'm pretty sure at one point they thought that. Now a lot of those same people are saying, no, it was Tom Brady. Well, I also think Cam. I think Cam's done.
I'm sad to say that. I think they even talked about that. This is probably his last year in the NFL as a starter. He might be a backup in the future, but I think he's going to struggle moving forward.
I missed a couple questions I'm going to go back to,
Sure.
and shout out to obviously Dustin, Personal Finance Dad. He's another daily sports card show you guys want to be subscribed to. Gerald S asked, how long do you hold sealed wax? I think he meant to say.
I don't, because I have kids, but I do recommend it.
Yeah. Gerald, if you weren't listening like 15 minutes ago, Ziggy had a great recommendation for me, is buy sealed wax of sports that you don't really care about. So for me, that would be basketball, baseball, hockey, anything outside of football, really.
Good product, right? Don't just go chase anything. Go back to Starstock, look at the products on those lists and buy those products. When you see them, if they come up, you have an opportunity, put that away. Like right now, if you're following baseball, Top Series 1, I think is pre-selling right now. I forget. I think I think it might be $1,200 a case. I don't want to say the wrong thing because we're on camera, but I like Topps flagship products, and Series 1, in my opinion, is a good case to pre-sell or pre-buy. Buy that now, wait for the spring, and then you can flip it in the spring, or you can hold it longer if you want to. But I like those products, Bowman, Topps. I'm looking at some of the hockey products, like I said, Series 1 hockey.
Fish says, what's the lowest grade you've gotten from a Starstock A? And I think this is an ongoing experiment.
Yes, I haven't gotten it back yet, but I will say from PSA, I've had those brutal returns that Brad went through, which was a great video. I have a video I did with my son where we did a submission. We're blind open, right? He was on FaceTime and I was talking to him, and I would put it up, but there's too much cursing between my son and I on these grades. Okay. But it's hilarious because we're going through the cards and we're like, are you kidding me? And it's just, oh my gosh.
Can't be more cursing than Brad's video on.
Oh, it's bad. Again, my son's on there, so I'm like, okay. And it wasn't me cursing. My son slipped out a few words that he shouldn't have said. It was funny. In the submission, what was great was he had several cards in there. One of them was his Zion. He had a Zion base that he got in a box back in January. So he's waiting for that grade. And it was one of the first cards. So it's on top. We kept putting it at the bottom. And I swear, out of the 25 cards, I think most of them were 9s and 8s, but his Zion was a 10. He was so excited. He sold that card for $700. Happiest 12-year-old you'll know, because he's like, Dad, I got that card for $100, or I could have sold it for $100 in January, but I got it graded. It came back at 10. I got $700. So he's super excited about that. Now I will say he also has a Luka, PSA 10 Luka, that he wanted to sell when it broke 2,000, and I talked him out of it. I was like, don't sell that card, hold that card. And then when it went down to 1,400, he was giving me grief. Dad, I should have sold the card. I'm like, no, I still think you should hold the card long. So it's interesting. Kids, patience is hard.
Yeah, he was on eBay looking at all the retail product that he could get.
Yeah. He does. His younger, so all three of my sons have one Luka PSA 10. My middle son was like, Dad, I could trade this in for an Xbox, the new Xbox, whatever, S or whatever. I'm like, yeah, you could, but that Xbox is going to be worth less money in the future, and that Luka's going to be worth more money. And what I love to tell them, I said, if your brother still has his and it's worth $3,000, don't come crying to me. So that competition between them kind of keeps them from, it's kind of like an arms battle, right? Neither one wants to be the first one to fire the missile, so they all have their own.
The Cold War, the Cold Brother Wars.
I love Les's channel. He did a great break a while back with his daughter, and I've said those are one of the things I love, man, is watching family break with their kids. So look forward to you doing that in the future, Andy. You're gonna have a great time.
Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it too. My daughter definitely, she knows about doing card investor stuff, but she's a little too young yet. She's more into playing with the bubble wrap, popping the bubble wrap. Yeah, she does.
That's awesome.
She'll kind of like, she'll be like, Dad, because she'll watch her kid videos on YouTube, and one of my videos will pop up, or one of Brad's videos will pop up and stuff, and she'll be like, Dad, your card investor stuff.
One of the best stories that Dustin shared a while back, Personal Finance Dad, is he said that one of the reasons he does his videos the way he does is that his young son loves to watch him on TV, right? Because they can put it up later on. He's like, Dad, it's on TV. And I absolutely love those stories, man. So I think it's great when you hear, the kids getting involved. One thing I'd recommend too, and my youngest son was little, I used to give him, we would grade just really garbagey cards, like a an old Curry card. We graded for him. So we have like a PSA 6 or a PSA 5, but it was his card and it wouldn't get damaged. He could take it with him. He could lose it. Right? You know what I'm saying? But it got him into cards when he was young. So I do recommend you get your kids some old, or some junky graded cards for them to hold on to.
Underdogs asks a very open-ended question that I think is pretty difficult to answer. But what cards do you think hold long-term value, and what cards hold short-term value? And I had a similar question from a guy on Instagram earlier because he was looking at a Panini Origins Starstock B RPA of Chris Godwin for $15. And I was like, yeah, I mean, that's a great price point, especially if you believe in Chris Godwin. I certainly do. I would honestly buy that card at that price point. But I was like, don't expect that to be a short-term flip. That's more of a card you'd be comfortable holding for a long time or longer time.
Yep. I mean, so the general answer to this question, let's take football. And my answer to this would be long-term, it's quarterbacks. And short-term, I would sell position players. Now, I use the position players to get me quarterbacks. There are a few position players I hold on to, but I'm still, I'm more for the quarterbacks. Because, again, my strategy is I'm also grading, and I grade patiently. So, like, for example, I'm debating right now with the Donruss whether I want to grade the Donruss or sell the Donruss. I think I'm going to sell the Donruss today, flip those, and look to grab some Prism in the next upcoming weeks, right? And then grade those. And I will say one tip I want to mention, too. We all talk about when new products release, we all know this, right? The first week or so, those products are going to sell the premium for those cards, and then they dip down. The one exception to that I will still tell people to watch is that sometimes you will see the short printed cards, the serial number cards, right? Like the 99s or the 199s, they might sell lower now than they might sell in the future. So I do like to take the chance and I snag up some of those. Like if I see some of the 299s, the 199 quarterback rookies, I'm going to try to make a move on those now because those often will grade well and can have some value in the future. The base cards, I absolutely will wait. I'll wait a few weeks on the base and the silvers, the refractors, the red, white, and blues. I'll wait to see the market on those.
Yeah, that's interesting, Ziggy. I like that approach to Starstock. Honestly, do you think that the 2020 Prism is an easier grade than?
Generally, yes. The big issue that you're going to see with Prism will be on centering.
Centering?
Yeah, but if you look at, like, for example, Contenders is a paper card, more difficult to grade. Donruss, paper card, more difficult to grade. Prism, Select, Optic do better on grading. The bigger issues would be on centering with those cards.
And what about like the dimple issue with Mosaic? Is it going to have that, you think? Or
well, that's another thing you have to worry about. Those thicker, those chromium type cards, if they're misprinted, right, then you have those issues as well. Where, like, I think Lamar's Prism card, right, was very hard to gem mint. A lot of them came back 9s. So you're right. You're running. The one thing I will say about that is at least that's consistent across the product, right? Where in paper really is condition sensitive, okay? Where in Prism or those chromium back cards, if it's going to be bad for, like I said, Lamar, it's bad across the product for Lamar, which means you're going to see a lot more 9s and fewer 10s, right? So I love Prism as a card to grade. It's also, to me, Prism is the rookie card for football. I look at Contenders as the autograph rookie card, and NT is the rookie RPA card. So
you look at Prism as, say that last part again, Ziggy?
So I put Prism as the rookie card. If you just want a rookie card of the player, it's Prism. If you want the rookie autograph, I'm going to go with Contenders. Now, some people would argue Optic. They like the Optic on-card Optic rated rookies, which is a beautiful card. But Contenders, like someone said earlier, there was no Optic Brady, right? Brady made the Contenders set, right? That card has made Contenders, and that's why Contenders is it's a collector's passionate product. And then the RPA from NT is the NT RPA in the business, man. It is the bomb. In fact, I just saw one of the NT, I think it was who's the Josh Allen sell for like $30,000 on one of the weekly episodes. I mean, that's ridiculous money for a quarterback that young, And then Mahomes is NT RPAs. I mean, I had one of those at one time. I had a Mahomes NT RPA, pulled it in a break, sold it for $1,100. Was extremely happy when I did it. Now it's worth a lot more money.
A lot more money. But hey, you can't look back on that.
Yep. I also pulled a Mitch Trubisky RPA from NT. Sold that for $2,000. Man, I'm happy I did that.
Shout out to 101 CJ. He bought 2 Prism Bud Dupree rookies for 99 cents. Comeback's getting all his cussing out before he has kids. Shout out to my boy Carter Bryant, Power Hour LSU. Let's see who else we got in the house. HT Sports, Ziggy, I hear you on Donruss. I'm having the same debate. Cards are prepped and in card savers, but haven't sent in.
I think it's, I mean, for quarterbacks, I think you're probably going to do well. I'm not against it. I'm wondering it's better to sell them now and try to invest more in Prism.
I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce that name at Ziggy unless you know how to pronounce it.
No.
Just going to say thank you for tuning in, sir. We're very happy to have you here. Ziggy is a walking book in the hobby. He is a legend. Very happy to have him on the channel. Very excited to have all you guys in the audience watching.
Thank you. Thank you all very much for all the comments. Thank you for coming out, for enjoying this. It's all. This is one thing I'll say. You know, it's Thanksgiving week, Andy. I want to say Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. It's crazy to say this, but 2020 has been the best year in the hobby for me. It really has, and it's the friends and the people I've met, and just the things I've learned. I mean, I've learned a lot in this hobby as well. And that's one thing I love about it. There's just so much to learn. There's so many people to meet. It's a very positive environment. It's been the highlight of 2020 for me.
Yeah, I share the sentiment, Ziggy, and very thankful to have all the guide. Man, you've given me so much guidance in your channel and the content that you put out and everything that you represent, and the shout outs that you've given, the giveaways that you did for you know, helping me grow this channel, and wouldn't be here without you, wouldn't be here without Brad, the comeback.
You're going to break 1,000 here pretty soon too, right? I mean, if you guys are out there and you haven't subscribed to this channel, I'm going to ask you, please help. Let's help Andy break that 1,000.
Yeah, if you're still here and you're still watching this live stream and you're not subscribed to my channel, what are you doing? I'm going to pull a Les Alex here, you lurkers. Go subscribe to the channel.
And I know how hard it is to break that 1,000, and it's a great mark to do because it's like, I don't know, it's like you feel like a bird's taken off. I will say, you know, then you have the decision whether or not you monetize your channel or commercialize your channel and stuff. So I watched a great video on that too, by the way. I think it was from Don's World. We talked about how he just broke 1,200 subscribers, and he talked about monetization and his channel, which I thought was really interesting. So I also encourage people, if you're out there and you're starting a channel, do it, right? Get out there, do it, set a plan, reach out to other people. I'll tell people, if you've got one, reach out to me. I'll give you tips. I'll help guide you. I can tell you where you can post, where you can meet people. And do it. It's fun, but you have to have a plan, because I admire those who can stick with it. It takes a lot of time, takes effort. There's a lot of channels I've seen that kind of come and go over the year too as well. So
shout out to Brad Nolan, the man standing on a camel in the desert there in front of the pyramids.
That's nice.
Brad. Yeah, Brad was watching the Dutch auction, the Dutch oven auction with me this morning. And
are you going to go to the Nationals next year? Is that on your agenda?
It is, man, as long as this COVID thing is under control.
I know you've got young ones, so I understand that.
Yeah.
I hope so, man. That's one thing I really hope to look forward to. I know there's a lot of content providers, and it'd be great to see everybody and maybe get together, do something up there. So stay in touch. But think about something. I'm trying to get Sports Card Investor to sponsor or host a party or something.
There you go.
Now, there are a lot of parties to it national. That's one of the great things. Panini does a VIP party. I think Topps does a party. There's the National's awesome.
Yeah, man. I haven't been to a card show since I was a kid, and they actually do them every month here, just like 30 minutes away from my house. I just haven't been able to go. It's a bunch of guys.
You got a lot. There's a lot of good sports card people in the area. Leighton Sports Cards is in Atlanta. Have you seen those guys? They're a big breaker. You check them out. I'm a big fan of Leighton. They do, like I said, a lot of great breaks. They're one of the bigger breakers in the community. He's out of Orlando. You've got what's his name, the Hobby Box there in Tampa, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's another channel. I forget the young man's name, but he's in the Tampa area, and he did he flew out to the Dallas card show and did the weekend there, which I thought was awesome. And then there's a content provider in Orlando as well. I think he's in Orlando and Tampa, maybe. Sundays, I think it's Sunday Soccer Investors or Sunday Rookie Investors. So you get a lot of great people in that area.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. I can't wait to meet all these people and network with everybody, see everybody in person, man.
What are you going to do in the off season?
That's a great question. I guess I can kind of let the cat out of the bag. I was talking to Brad Nolan actually about this on Saturday night after our live stream was over, but I will be starting a new series. Can you guess what I'm going to get into?
No, but I'm excited.
Vintage football cards.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. So make the back. I like that.
So I want to do a series where I do like a little history lesson and tell the story about the player, and then we look at the different buying options, different cards that are available, the grades, the opportunities there for that player. But you know, the whole reason why we invest in these players is the story behind them, not just what they did on the field, but off the field. So it'll be a fun series that I'm looking forward to doing.
Another thing to track, right, what I love is when the draft comes, right? One of the reasons I love the draft is because the draft affects break prices, right? Because they look at what teams are going to get quarterbacks, what teams don't. How's that going to affect the class? Like, so for example, in basketball this year, what's nice about basketball is it's going to be pretty balanced, right? The Lakers don't have any rookies, so they're going to be a valuable team, right? And you're going to have so many people, you don't know who's good in basketball. So breaking for basketball will be very, very balanced, I think, right? Where next year you're going to have whoever Lawrence goes to, that team's going to be $1,000 in breaks, right? So I can't wait for the draft just to kind of see where the players line up and how that affects the price of products, which again, most people, when they watch the draft, they're not thinking that at all. But every draft I watch, whether it's baseball, football, or basketball, I'm thinking, how does it affect the market on the break prices? So,
and I got in literally right after the draft, you know, this year. So it's going to be pretty busy, to be honest with you, in the off season, because we've got the draft. You know, Super Bowl is going to be beginning of February, and then you got the draft in April, and then it's going to be getting ready for the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
But I definitely am going to do, you know, sprinkle in probably once a week or a couple times a month the vintage football episodes. And but I mean, dude, like from everything that I've seen this year at the beginning of the season, when it was just like a force, you know, I was just selling cards for crazy profit left and right. I want to be completely ready, locked and loaded for the beginning of season next year. Just basically scale up my strategy from this year and really refine it.
It'd also be a good time in the off season. You could do some of those break some vintage products, maybe, right?
There you go.
Do some education. That'd be a great idea. I like it. I like it a lot. As far as Fish is asking, when did I send the Starstock A's to PSA? I just sent them back, like, I want to say end of October. So it was just recently. And
what about you, Ziggy? What's
to me, there is no off season. That's what I love about this, man. There is no off season in the hobby, because I with my 4 boys, there's always a sport that we're kind of following, and mainly it's been football and basketball with a flavor of baseball, right? Because we like some of the rookies in baseball. Like we love the Aaron Judge, Cody Bellinger year. We were huge into those guys. But I'll say we've started playing a little bit in soccer this last year and playing in some hockey. So to me, there's no off season. That's what I really love about the hobby. It's just there's sports all the time. I'm a big fan of ESPN and talk radio. So all that kind of feeds into your hobby addiction, because you get insight on stuff, right? You hear about what's going on. Like you probably heard today that Randy, I can't remember his last name, the Rays guy got arrested down in wherever he is. I forget where he is, but how that affects the hobby, right? Because everybody, it's amazing to me. And what I also love about the hobby in my professional career is knowing the hobby, I can talk to anybody about sports, right? and everybody loves talk about sports. And I don't have to talk about the hobby at all. But if they're really interested into it, I can kind of throw it by them. Hey, are you into sports cards too? Yeah, actually I am. You know, so the hobby is a great thing that you can professionally use to build rapport in your career. You can talk to anybody about the hobby, right? Or about sports, and you can branch that into sports cards in some way. So I really enjoy that. In fact, I've been active recently on LinkedIn. Got into a LinkedIn sports card group. I don't know if you're on LinkedIn, but if you guys, anybody's out there on LinkedIn, I can hook you up or get you into the group. It's kind of quiet. It's not like they're not people posting, buying, and selling stuff like that, but they're posting information. And it's also interesting just to see the professionals who are involved, you know, in sports cards. So,
You know, there's a lot of buying and selling that goes on Twitter.
yes, and Instagram and TikTok. I mean, that's when they all say too, when they look at the value of the market, when they talk about the sports card market, it is huge when you think about all the underground transactions that take place that never hit eBay or Starstock or CMOC. I mean, there's just tons and tons of transactions going on all those platforms.
It's incredible. So I mean, it does beg the question, do you sleep, Ziggy?
I do. And I'll tell you, here's my routine. I'm working from home. So as I work from home, I get notifications on channels, and I'll pull the channel up. And like during my lunch hour, I'll watch some of them. I double speed. So I'll be watching 2 channels at once, and I can fast forward it. And I'm listening basically to stories. And if it's something important, I'll go back and take a note of it. Right. And I normally spend like an hour at night, and I'll go through all the content and then build the video for the next day. So over the day, like I said, I'll flag stuff as I'm working and stuff and doing other things. And a lot of times, depending on my schedule, like today I was actually out in DC for the day, so I'm behind. I'll be doing a lot of stuff tonight, but it's funny. The way I look at it is a lot of us are already consuming this information. We're already looking. All I'm doing is I'm trying to take note of it. I'm trying to highlight to other people what I think is valuable, right? Or what I think is interesting or new, or bring their attention to stuff. And I also like, and there's some great content out there that schedules on a regular basis that I love to bring attention to. Like I'm a huge fan of Sports Card Live with Jeremy. He does his channel twice a week. It's like clockwork. He does interviews. They're great. In fact, guys, real quickly, he's having Panini on the show tomorrow night, which I think is a phenomenal opportunity to listen to. I think it's the marketing person from Panini, live conversation, live chat. And what I'll say is what I love about Jeremy's channel is you can ask questions. And it's hard, as we know right now, to watch the chat and everything. But Jeremy does a very good job of answering questions in the chat for the audience. So I'm really looking forward to that. I also love Hobby Hotline, which I co-host on, and I encourage people, including yourself, to go over there because you can learn a lot from those guys over there. Ask questions, come join the show, and that's the stuff, that good stuff that I'm trying to do is get that good content out there for people. There's just so many great content providers.
Yeah, man, you're like the glue that holds all the sports card content together.
Well, again, the way I look, it's funny. I was very active in Facebook, and I still am in the Facebook community. I started kind of a similar thing. I had a Facebook group there where I would just share information, right? Like I'd share when the first of the line was coming. I'd share when white sparkle cards were coming out and stuff like that. And I've just kind of taken that same model and now moved it to YouTube, right? And I just look at it as community. Like one thing I learned very early in the hobby here is one of the most important things is information. Okay, I can't stress that enough. Like you think about the stock market and you have information and insider information, and that's illegal. Insider information happens in the hobby and there's nothing illegal about it. Okay. And if you know when stuff's happening, you can be put in a better position to make a better deal, right? You know what I'm saying? And to me, it's about learning that information, man. Knowing when the white sparkle, like here's a great example. When you're on Facebook, you'll see people start buying up all the points cards. Anybody got points? Anybody got points? Why are they buying points? Because Panini's probably going to be dropping white sparkle packs and you need points to get them, right? So you look for those little subtle things. No one's going to tell you, hey, man, white sparkle packs are coming out. I need to buy your points. They're just going to say I'm buying points, So it's those little things, those little subtle tricks that you pick up on. You kind of, you want to share with the community, which is funny, too, because it kind of it's contradicts the investor side of me. Because as an investor, if I want to have the best value, I want to keep that exclusive information to myself, right? But the collector in me wants people to find what they want to share. You know what I'm saying? So I have this internal debate. That's why I try to share as much as I can, give people tips, guide them in the right direction. So.
Well, you do a great job at it, man. I'm thankful, and I'm going to speak on behalf of my entire community here at the Fantasy Football Card Quest. And thank you, ZiggyNo, for everything you do in the community. And this has been an awesome show, very informative. As usual, I've learned a lot, and I hope everybody out there across the internet has as well. I think this is a really good place to end it, Ziggy, because I definitely want to have you back on, man, in a few weeks.
I definitely will do more. Just so people know, I plan to do more lives. I don't have very good internet access at my home. I'm at my father's house right now, so I have to go to someone's house when I do these, or I have to be at my office. So my house, I have a DSL line. It is what it is, man. But I love this. I really appreciate it. It's been great. Thank you. And again, I'll just say happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Hope you have a wonderful, safe, healthy, happy Thanksgiving. I'll see everybody every day. I'll be putting out more content. I'm looking forward to your channel, Andy. Thank you very much, man, for having me on. I can't believe the time went by so fast.
Hey, time flies when you're having fun, brother.
So yeah, we got to cut it.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys. We'll talk to you soon in that next video.